Scotland. Raise your hand, Mark. And Ahmed Clark, I don't see him, but the four of us went down to Charleston. We felt called by God to go down there and to serve the people of Charleston, to pray, to comfort families, to preach a little bit as we were called upon, and to care for our brothers and sisters in Christ who were suffering so deeply. As we got there on late Friday night, in front of the church there, we spent about 3 hours from midnight to 3 a.m. standing in front of the church where the 9 people were brutally killed, pictures of them, flowers everywhere, candles burning, talking to people, listening to people vent and grieve. As I read sort of the monuments for the church, I realized this isn't the first time this church had members who were killed. Right? Back in 1822, 36 of their members were hung just a few blocks away, simply because they were African American. In 1834, the church was burned down. In 1834, South Carolina banned all African American churches from meeting, and the church met underground. And now here in 2015, it seems like it's the same old story. We've got a problem in this country, and we're all part of it, and it's going to take all of us to fix it. One of the things that was interesting, the message I would bring back from this church is the fact that they practiced forgiveness. All of the members, family members, they forgave the Dylan Roof, who killed their family members. They modeled to us what it means to forgive. Ephesians 4, which they practice, says, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another even as God in Christ has forgiven you. And I couldn't believe on Sunday morning when they allowed us to come to church that after 9 of their members were killed by a white person, they would welcome me, a stranger, and a white person, and embrace me and allow them to come into their worship. They know how to forgive, and violence has stopped. But that's not all. It's not enough just to forgive. The church on Sunday, as the pastor preached, he emphasized we need justice. We need to hold people accountable to do the right thing. We need to fight injustice. We need to work against it, not just in the government structures, but each of us individually. Fight the hatred and anger and the racial prejudices we all have. And so justice and forgiveness, we need to work on those both together. I wanted Tone to share one story.
So while we were down there, handing out waters and so forth and so on, I met a white woman. She had to be in her late 70s. Hundreds of black men around, but for some reason, she wanted to talk to me. So Kelsey comes over and she grabs my hand and she says, I want you to take this with you. I want you to go back and tell your family that that white woman from South Carolina said that she apologizes for everything her ancestors did to your people. And I grabbed her hand back and I looked in Miss Kelsey's eyes and I said, I want you to take this with you. I want you to tell all of your family here in South Carolina that that black man from Trenton, New Jersey said he forgives you as freely as Jesus has forgiven him. And you are to go home with no guilt about this anymore.
One of the things we talk about action, and I just wanted to throw this out to you. At Stonehill Church for the last month, we have been meeting together in koinonia gatherings, which means fellowship, multi-ethnic groups of people to get in a room, share a meal, and talk about race, which we don't often do. We talked about it, we stir it up. It gets a little dicey sometimes, but we need to dialogue together. We need to understand one another better. We need to involve ourselves. And if any of you want to kind of know what we've done, I'd love to talk to you so you can take it back to your church, your community of faith, and use it as well. I think the church in Charleston would also say to us, keep praying, not just tonight, but every night, not just for Charleston, but for us, for our city, for our government, and for each of us individually. Because the Bible's pretty clear. We're all messed up. We've all got problems. We don't love each other all that well. And if you don't believe that, ask your family. They'll tell you. But we all need God to help us love each other a whole lot better than we've been doing the last couple hundred years. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Tracy and Tony. We really appreciate that sharing.